Now, on this tense situation, joining us is Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He's a Republican from Illinois. He's an Afghan and Iraq war veteran. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in. As you know, the U.S. moving, 9 warships, including an aircraft carrier battle group. That aircraft carrier alone has 6,000 or so Marines and sailors on board, and there may be 3,000 or 4,000 others. They're approaching probably 10,000 U.S. troops to that area. They're going into harm's way. This is not just simply a joyride, if you will.
No, it's not. That's a significant commitment, especially if you think about the USS Roosevelt having a mission, for instance, in fighting ISIS in Iraq and a mission in fighting ISIS in Syria. To put them in this position, they can still fly their missions, but it's not as convenient as maybe they could be positioned somewhere else, Persian Gulf or something like that, you know, near Kuwait. So this is a big deal. The question, though, is if it's found out, if it's discovered that these Iranian ships are actually carrying arms to the Houthi rebels, then what's next? I mean, do you just watch them? You watch them because then that could be embarrassing for us if, in fact, they're not blockaded.
Because it would be a huge deal if the U.S. intercepted an Iranian warship and boarded that Iranian warship searching for cargo of weapons. Even if it were, it's certainly in international waters, but let's say it were in the territorial waters of Yemen, that would still be a huge deal. And a lot of us remember the USS Cole. That was blown up, as you will remember, in the Gulf of Aden, right in Yemen, and a lot of American sailors were killed in that. We got some pictures to remind our viewers of what happened in October of 2000.
Yeah, it's a really dangerous area. And I think, obviously you're not going to see the United States probably board these ships or stop them in international waters. But if the legitimate government of Yemen calls that, they want protection of their borders, their waters, you very well may see some interdiction happen. But if it doesn't, if at the end of the day these Iranian ships have weapons on them for the Houthis, and we simply fly over them and then watch them dock and resupply, you kind of wonder at the end of the day, what have you accomplished? And you might look a bit toothless. So, look, it's a really kind of a tight wire that the administration's walking here. You don't want to escalate the situation, but you also don't want to back down from a pretty serious problem.
And you also have not just potentially a little clash or maybe a big clash with Iran. You got those Shiite Houthi rebels in Yemen. They don't like the United States. You got AQAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. They got a significant base in Yemen right now. All of them would like to go after that big U.S. target.
Well, that's right. And I was in Yemen probably about 1.5 years ago now, and it was a pretty quick trip in there. Met with the president, saw some of the situation on the ground. And at the time, we were pretty optimistic that with the Yemenis government, their troops, and with our assistance, we were able to push Al-Qaeda back. But now with this chaos that's enveloped in Yemen, it's not just what's going on with Iranian influence in the area, which is bad, terrible, and destabilizing, but Al-Qaeda is now taking advantage of chaos like they do everywhere, like their predecessor, like ISIS has done in Syria, like they've done in Afghanistan. They're like a bacteria.
Yeah, and what was going on in Yemen when you were there, there was at least a friendly government in charge in Yemen that welcomed the United States involvement. That friendly government is now gone, and it is chaos in that failed state that we call Yemen. I want you to stand by, Congressman. We have a lot more to discuss, including what's going on in Iraq. I know you fought in Iraq, you fought in Afghanistan. I'm sure it pains you to see what's going on there right now.